Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Simply Spiritual. How's it going? So today I'm going to do something a little different than usual aside from my regular doom and gloom predictions. Today I'm actually going to be talking about 4D Ascension. Now, I have been noticing a lot of clients come to me recently experiencing these weird symptoms. So people come in, they say that they're feeling lethargic, they're feeling ill, they're feeling under the weather, amongst other types of symptoms that are beyond just like physical illness, so to speak. And we're going to go ahead and touch on that today so that way you guys have a better understanding of what spiritual ascension is and to learn how to differentiate it between actually being sick as opposed to actually ascending and going through the process. So let's talk about this, all right? So from my own personal standpoint and what I've been through, I have been on this interesting journey for the past few years. It basically kind of started in 2017 for me. During that time was a very difficult moment in my life because I was going through a lot personally, but not only that, my mother had actually passed away that year, which is very difficult for me to go through. After that, I ended up kind of taking this whole new mission in my life. I decided to relocate and move to the desert because I had an ayahuasca journey and I was like, you know what? I think the desert might be a good option for me. So I ran away to the desert with my kid, and I just had like a year and a half or so of reflection time to work on me and to kind of fully understand myself and basically my path, or to kind of like realign myself, because after my mother's passing I really just lost sight of myself and I felt very lost. So I ended up going through some situations. I ended up meeting this guy who turned out to be like this horribly narcissistic, just jerkhole. And, but however, this relationship taught me a lot about myself. In fact, it was like a catalyst to help me heal and understand the work that I needed to do with myself. So that way I stopped attracting these types of people. So, even though he was a big jerkhole, I'm actually very grateful that I met the person. But during that point in time in my life, especially like in 2018, I was just so like consumed with emotion, and I definitely felt all over crappy in my body. I felt almost like I was diseased of some sort. I know that I had a really bad kidney infection around that time, and I hardly ever get sick, and it was interesting because I almost like felt like I was dying. However, I almost kind of associate this feeling of death around that year as almost kind of like a spiritual death in essence, because after I went through that, I ended up again finding myself making another move, and I've been in this weird transition of back and forth. But what really hit me was the beginning of 2020, believe it or not. Holy crap. So I already know that I was going through some spiritual shifting for the past couple of years, but I didn't really understand to what extent. It just was emotionally heavy. I was always crying all the time. I was always depressed. I was always tired, fatigued. I was just not myself. And when 2020 hit, actually, I ended up experiencing some really wild, weird, I want to call like symptoms. And so basically, it was clearing a lot of these old patterns in my life with relationships, as well as making really deep realizations about like the universe, my life, my path, what I'm meant for, what my life was about. And these realizations were very deep and very heavy to the extent of where like I would have emotional breakdowns repeatedly. I also noticed patterns of people just getting upset and mean with me just periodically. I had this time slot of these clients especially that were just like really effed up to me. They would basically kind of gaslight me and victimize themselves and basically kind of blame me for their problems. And I was really trying to kind of understand the source of these issues and where they were coming from. So I want to say one particular thing that actually helped me, and no, I'm not a sponsor for this particular program, but I attest to it because like I tell all my friends and family. But there's this amazing app called The Pattern. So if you haven't checked it out yet, you totally should. What it does is that it takes down all of your birth information and calculates everything, and it basically tells you what your patterns are, your cycles, as well as like if there's anybody else you want to add to these patterns, you could kind of understand your connection with them and what you're supposed to learn. So when I discovered this app, I actually realized the lessons that I actually needed to take away from it, because during the time I was actually in this state of victimization. I was like, why me? Woe is me. What did I do to deserve people being rude and blaming me for their problems? And then I ended up realizing that it was actually like a reflection of myself. It was my inner pain that I had yet to be able to heal from. And so basically I realized that my energy was being projected onto others and then therefore projecting back on me. And so it took me a minute to really understand what I was attracting in my life. And so I quickly changed it. So I would especially advise people who believe that they are going through ascension symptoms to look up this app, because this could actually help you navigate your ascension, and so that way you could better understand the patterns and the lessons that you need to learn moving forward. So just throwing that out there. Now, when it comes to ascension, the New Age communities always talk about this as far as like ascending to 4D and 5D and, all that good stuff. It's very much glamorized in the New Age community. But what most people don't understand is how deep, heavy, and intense ascension actually is. It's not pleasant by any means. It's not like you just wake up one day and you're like, I'm magical. Look at me. I'm like super ascended. Unfortunately, it's not like that. It's very rough. It's very difficult and very challenging. And again, all of this past crap that you haven't been able to work on yourself comes back and it resurfaces, and you are forced to work through these issues. So it takes a lot of shadow work and a lot of self-awareness to actually get to the point of ascension. Because if you stay in that state of victimhood and you are always kind of putting the blame on other people and not taking accountability or not understanding where these patterns are actually lying, then it's going to be very difficult for you to actually ascend and be up in like the 4D, 5D planes. So something that I would like to give you as far as like, if you are wanting to ascend, you are really going to have to work on releasing the ego. Now, the ego is just a huge thing. A lot of people hold on to it. It's because your ego is a part of you. It makes up for your personality and who you are. But a lot of people just hold on to it because it's like, it's like an appendix. It's like it's essential, but you don't really need it. And but you still need your intestines. So they're like, no, I don't want to part with my appendix because it's a part of me. It's scary. Please don't operate on it. But when you get rid of something that isn't serving you, you feel so much better. You feel lighter, you feel healthier. And that's exactly what happened to me on my journey. As I was going through the beginning of the year and making all of these realizations, and I also took a lot of time like self-reflecting and spending a lot more time with myself, because I found out I realized that I was having a lot of issues with my love life, especially. And, after navigating through my ascension process, I also realized that a huge source of the reason why I was attracting very similar people that were toxic or emotionally unavailable, again, was because that I didn't get the chance to fully heal or understand what I had gone through in my childhood and in my past, nor did I fully take responsibility for the hurt that I've caused other people and or the unethical things that I would do in relationships. And I really came to terms with that. And I really also had to practice that self-forgiveness. When you beat yourself up, that doesn't help either because it just pulls you back. But once you fully understood what these lessons were meant for, and as long as you reflect on them and acknowledge them, as well as forgive yourself, it actually helps you move along and to start attracting better, more healthier relationship patterns. So as I learned from that, we are in the month of November, and I can honestly tell you that I'm at a point in my life where I feel like a completely different person. I am not the person that I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, even. And I know a lot of my friends and family have come up to me and even have stated, "Hey, Aubrey, you just seem so much different." I am a lot more open. I'm a lot more in touch with my emotions. And I am so much more grateful for the lessons and the gifts that I've received in this lifetime, and then also understanding my purpose and mission in this lifetime. So once you actually get to that level of ascension, it's totally worth it. While you're going through it, it sucks ass. And it's hard and it kicks your butt and you just want to die because it's really, it feels really shitty. But once you actually persevere and you get out of that state of victimhood, I'm telling you, it is so much better. So let me explain to you what the 4D actually feels like. So for most people, they still are in that 3D state of mind. They're oftentimes when people are in the 3D state, they're often concerned about physical attachments or the physical world. They're concerned about relationships. They're concerned about money. They're concerned about their home. It's just a list of concerns, anxieties that surround them. And oftentimes that kind of projects and manifests itself into more complications and issues. Once you actually reach the point of ascension, it's so freeing. You actually end up letting go of the physical, like anything that you were once worried about. And I could tell you before, I was always worried about my money and finances, and mostly because of childhood issues. I was always worried about my love life. Am I going to die alone? I was, worried about other crap that didn't serve me. And now that I've gotten to this point of ascension, none of that bothers me. I feel so much more confident about myself and who I am, as well as I've paid a lot more attention to my own intuition. And I feel less reliant on having other people to guide me through what it is that I need. Basically, I follow my own higher self, my own intuition, my own guides. Things just seem to navigate so much easier. Not only that, but when your vibration is higher, you just start to notice that things just flow easier for you. It's like the once like petty annoyances, disturbances, frustrations, they seem to just like dissipate. Like you just don't care about the frivolous anymore. And I can't tell you how freeing that is because I used to suffer from major anxiety and I would always worry and worry and worry. And I felt like I was never going to get out of the hole. But now that I become more grateful about my surroundings and, fully understanding that I don't need to worry about the 3D world because I feel like I'm so much like radiating on like a different frequency. That's basically how it feels. It feels like you are disconnected from what you would consider the real world, and you feel like you're kind of like an outsider looking at like a movie screen playing out in front of you. So you're kind of like in this bubble on the outside, and then you're just kind of observing what's going on the like the 3D plane. However, granted, 2020 has just been a very annoying, obnoxious, and crappy year for most of us. But you actually start to let these things go. Whereas most people are focusing on, all of the drama and the elections and all of the BS that's happening right now and being in a state of fear, you lose all of that when you ascend. It's almost kind of like, oh, okay, well, I trust the universe that it's going to take care of me. I trust the universe has a plan that's going to work this situation out. So you just like stand back and just chill. You're just like, all right, I'm trusting. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it to you, universe. You've got this. And then the whole thing with like tolerance and acceptance, you actually learn what really, really is, unlike today's modern tolerance and acceptance we all know and love. You bigot. It's I remember when I was going through my ascension process and I was seeing these people being so easily manipulated and buying into fear. I would often think of these people, especially the people that were wearing masks in their cars or wearing masks and gloves outside while they were jogging. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you guys are so ridiculous. Like, how dumb are you? And I'm sure a lot of you guys feel that way right now with people that you see, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I could honestly say that since reaching this peak of ascension, I no longer feel that way. In fact, I feel more compassion for these people. I feel like I have more of an understanding of them and why they feel the need to do the silly things that they do. And I don't even want to say it's silly because they have a reason. And unfortunately, because of the 3D world and how much fear and divide it keeps pushing onto people, it's no wonder that there are some people out there that firmly believe that they need to wear a mask in their car or a mask while they're jogging outside. And so when you ascend, you have more of this tolerance and acceptance and understanding of why people are the way they are, and you show more compassion and understanding. You become selfless, and you basically want to be able to help them by educating them. And you don't want to yell at people, you don't want to degrade people, and you just want to show compassion and understanding, because unfortunately, a lot of these people don't feel like they're in control of these circumstances, and it's very scary for them. So it's one of those things that you just kind of learn how to adjust, and you learn to be understanding, and you just realize that there's so much more beyond the physical world, that in reality this is all a projection of our own manifestation. Our world, all it is, it's a projection, it's a simulation. The collective consciousness has created this state of the planet. But when you become to a point where you're ascended and you're higher vibrational, your own personal reality changes. It becomes so much more beautiful and so much more magical. And so I encourage each and every one of you, in order to help you guys ascend and move forward into this new earth we're about to beckon on, you really need to understand that these things, so that way you can ascend, letting go of the ego, really being true to yourself, really fully working through your old patterns and behaviors and negative habits, working on forgiving yourself and others. These are all amazing steps that you guys could take to ascend and get to where you want to be. Now, just to briefly run down some symptoms, let's go ahead and throw that out there. one of the first symptoms that you notice when you're going through Ascension is you actually do suffer from physical symptoms, and usually they're related to your chakra areas. So oftentimes people will feel like a buzzing on the crown chakra. So it's like it feels like little bugs crawling around on your scalp. Or sometimes you feel a little lightheaded or woozy from time to time, just like random bits. You could feel pressure or headaches in the third eye area. So you could feel pressure in this area. You could also notice like more vivid dreams, your like more heightened state of intuition. You start to feel like if your throat chakra is trying to align, you'll feel like a clogged throat or trying to like constantly clear it out. You could feel pressure in your chest, basically aligning your heart chakra, your solar plexus. You could have stomach problems. You could either overeat or undereat. Depression is actually a really huge part of Ascension, as well as, starting to notice people leaving your life and relationships ending, starting to set up bigger boundaries for yourself. Oftentimes the past will kind of resurface itself too, so that way you could work through those issues. You'll have major realizations and breakthroughs. You'll even also start to notice like weird symptoms, such as like automatically just feeling lightheaded out of the blue, feeling dizzy. And then you'll also notice like repeated numbers like 111, 1111, 222, 333. These are angel numbers to let you know that you're on your path. So pay attention to these symptoms. They're very important. Oftentimes they do mean ascension, but also pay attention to your body, because if your body is saying that something is wrong and, it may need medical attention. So don't ignore physical symptoms because you don't want to put your health in jeopardy either. It's very important to be responsible in case you actually do have something physically wrong with you. Make sure you see a doctor, get everything ruled out. Chances are, if all your tests come back positive or are actually negative, if all your test results come back negative and you're deemed healthy, chances are it's Ascension and you're basically going through the process. But remember, it's difficult and it's challenging and it's going to kick your butt, but you can get through it. And, the people that have gone through their Ascension process, they could probably all agree and tell you like, yeah, it sucks, but the end result is so much worth it. It's beautiful. And it's a whole other reality here. So I encourage all of you guys to take the steps and understand what this ascension means for yourself and the planet. Be excited because there's so many changes that are happening in the next couple of years that are just going to like be amazing. And I'm really excited about it. And I have my full trust in the universe and what it's going to provide for us in the coming months and even years to come. So, be grounded, let go of that ego, work on yourself, work on your baggage, and you're going to be able to get through this. So I hope that helps give you some guidance moving forward. Obviously, if you have any questions or you would like to get a personal reading, please go to my website at itsyouruniverse.com and follow up with like updated videos that I post with predictions, etc. Follow me on It's Your Universe. The link is here. And make sure you like and subscribe, of course. Share this with your friends and family. I'm sure they could utilize these tools as well. So much love to you guys and stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day. Bye.